So we have the early spoilers for chapter 27 of Boruto Tulu Vortex, and Jura is apparently paying a visit to the village once again. Not much is happening outside of that, but we do have a few more things to discuss, so let's get into it. So yeah, Jura is now inside the village, and I thought he was drinking some sake initially, but apparently it's just regular tea, based on the wording on the cup. We then get a panel of Inojin saying, "Are you serious?" And Shikamaru then says, "I've had the sensory team report it just in case. But for now, there's nothing we can do except leave it alone." The it, of course, being Jura. And he also goes on to say that he pretty much told the police department not to get involved as well. So yeah, that's it for the leak. I did promise to make a video on it, but there's not much to discuss here. Obviously, Jura is in the village. He's gathering information on tea this time, apparently, or just how the humans operate. Or maybe there's a plan here, because Mamushi is supposed to arrive in the village a week from the prior chapter. And of course, we have no idea how much time has passed between then and this page. And I guess we'll find out when the chapter actually drops, or at least when the full spoilers come out. So with that said, as per usual, we're going to cover the predictions for the spoilers, which I posted on the community post over 2 days ago, I believe. So we should have some comments to go over what you guys are feeling about the upcoming events in at least the next chapter. So the first one is from Zebek, and he says that Eida calls off her guard dog, which of course is referring to Daemon. Boruto speaks on Momoshiki. End of chapter, Mamushi invades. And I think this pretty much sums up what I believe is gonna happen as well. We kinda did speak on this yesterday on the stream, that I think that Eida is very understanding. And I don't believe that she's actually going to have Daemon fight Sarada and Sumire. That doesn't make sense, or at least hurt them significantly. Because of course, she actually wants real friends. This is what she's been hoping for the entire time. Someone that she doesn't have to compel to be friends with her. So I think the conversation is going to be if they're actually friends with Eida because they actually want to be, or if there's some ulterior motive. And of course, us as the audience, we know that Shikamaru told them to befriend Eida and get closer to Eida because they have the ability to kill her. Now I'm not sure if they're going to tell this to Eida because I'm not sure why they would. They have no reason to, because Eida has no way of finding out. Shikamaru told them this using Ino's jutsu. So they can simply say that they chose to be friends with Eida because that is what they wanted to do, and Eida can't contest that. Now of course, they could choose to be honest and just put everything out there to actually try to build a proper friendship and tell Eida that yes, initially, this is what we were told to do, befriend you because we weren't affected by your jutsu. But over time, we grew to actually care about you and all that stuff. They could go that route, and I think Eida would understand. And I had a separate convo about this on a different podcast the other day, and the argument was that Eida wouldn't want them around because they pose a threat to Eida, which does make some sense. But then I'm thinking she didn't have that much of a problem with Boruto and Kawaki being around her even though they weren't affected, so that doesn't seem to be the number one priority for Eida. Then again, Daemon is always there to protect her in the event that something does happen, which is the entire reason why she freed him in the first place, because Code said, what if Kawaki tries to kill you? So one can then take this to understand why Daemon attacks Sarada. He isn't trying to kill her, he's trying to assert dominance to prove that he can defend Eida in the event that Sarada does attack her. The same thing he did when he just arrived in the village and had this fight with Boruto and Kawaki. This does imply that Daemon is at least a tiny bit concerned about Sarada's Mangekyo powers, because he didn't try this before she awakened the Mangekyo. She simply wasn't a threat before then. So yeah, I think Eida is gonna call off Daemon before anything happens. There isn't gonna be a huge fight between them, but it could be the case that Sarada wins the interaction. Maybe she uses some overpowered genjutsu that bypasses his ability to detect attacks and reflect them. Who knows? Anything is possible, and I can't wait to see what happens. Now we also have Claudia here saying that I feel like Eida will be disappointed in Sarada and Sumire, and the fact that they didn't tell her that they were immune to omnipotence, as she thought they were her real friends. It will be hard to gain her trust again. I do understand this from a certain perspective, but I would say that Eida couldn't have thought that they were real friends since they were captivated by her jutsu. At least that's what she believed. Now she can still be disappointed that they lied to her for so long, so I can see that happening to some extent. Now 7 says that Momoshiki hints at Boruto's pure eye, which is referring to the Jogan. Now that would be awesome. Do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not. Do I think it should happen? Definitely, because if the Jogan is canon to the manga, if he's going to get the eye, I would rather they do some build up to it instead of just dropping it into the story at this random point. Like for sure it has been hinted at in the anime multiple times and also shown on screen, but it hasn't been in the manga. And there's chapter 1 of course, which I do believe that was the Jogan, but it isn't conclusive. And again, it hasn't been hinted at any point in the manga outside of chapter 1 where you can assume that it was shown. So I do think there needs to be some build up, and starting from this early before we get to the fight with Boruto and Kawaki would make perfect sense, but we'll have to just wait and see. Now we also have one from Extra Long Shorts, and he says that Kakashi comes back to work as an interim Hokage, are shown a flashback of him and Might Guy hunting down Boruto and Sasuke, only to realize something fundamentally has shifted, where he begins to question everyone's memories, including his own, only to fast forward to him becoming Hokage and hinting to Shikamaru that he's on their side. Now this one is one of the best ones I've seen because it takes the story in a very interesting path when it comes to politics. And also of course getting to see Kakashi again and him interacting with the new gen characters and this new version of Boruto, and also fulfilling that promise from 2018 that was made by Ikimoto or Kodachi that Kakashi was going to be very important in the manga at some point in time. They haven't fulfilled that promise, but plans do change and maybe that's not in the cards anymore. I would rather they go down this specific path because it does make sense in the story. So this is a very good one, man. It's a very good one. Now this one is one of the funniest ones I've seen. So we have Praho here, hopefully I'm saying this right. He says Kawaki arrives and de-escalates the situation with Eida and Daemon. Now this could happen in the sense that Kawaki stops them from fighting, but the thought of Kawaki being the person to de-escalate any situation is just extremely funny to me. But yeah, that's why I thought this one was especially hilarious. Now we also have one from Lord Bong Kage. That's a very interesting name there, my guy. But he says that Daemon, Sarada misdirection with their fight, leading to a team up versus Mamushi. Boruto and Koji break Shiz down some more to Inajin, which of course is just giving him some more information. And we learn more about Boruto's deal with Momoshiki. And then last but not least, Shikamaru gets interrogated, Konohamaru becomes the fall guy. Now this first one I think is very interesting that they're going to team up together because Mamushi just shows up. I do have a problem because they did say that Mamushi arrives in a week from now. And of course, I doubt they're going to be in that room talking for a week. Unless Mamushi moves up the timeline because of course, Kashin Koji's prescience is kinda dookie. Anyone can do anything and just change the future and he wouldn't even know unless he gets an update, which can arrive 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 months, who knows, anytime. So you can't truly rely on anything Kashin Koji says, you have to take it with a big grain of salt. We also have a very insightful one here from EI on 4EB that says, Boruto is in the chapter. Very insightful. I hope he is. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to go on too long. You guys can go on the page, the community tab, and just read the predictions yourself and give your thoughts on them as well. We're going to have a lot more to discuss once the full spoilers come out later this week, so look forward to that one. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.